They say a neighborhood should feel safe, right? But let me tell you, mine turned into a war zone the day our HOA president, Marlene Harding, decided to run her little suburban empire like she was some kind of mob boss. You ever seen a woman with a pastel windbreaker and a clipboard act like she owns the place? Yeah, that's Marlene, standing on my property one morning, right in front of my old barn, giving me that sugar-coated smile, like I should be grateful for her judgment. You know, she starts in, that barn equipment's an eyesore. Some of us are starting to think you don't respect the community. I just looked at her, because, come on, it's a ranch, Marlene. That equipment keeps this land going. But she just stands there, not blinking, and says, communities only work when everyone follows the rules. Ignore them, and people might think you don't belong here. You know what I mean? It wasn't about rules. It was about power. So, next HOA meeting, folding chairs set up. In the firehouse, Marlene running the show with her projector screen, walking everyone through community harmony, her favorite phrase. But I was done letting her talk down to people. There's a carved black skull nailed to my barn door. Not spray paint. Not some prank. This was a message. The kind only outlaw biker crews use. I guess Marlene thought intimidation would work. Just sips her water, all innocent. Excuse me. I say. The 6 men on motorcycles that paraded past my land yesterday. They weren't just lost. You sent them. The crowd shifts, someone whispers. I saw them too. And Marlene, in that cold little voice, goes, when you ignore expectations, sometimes people outside the bylaws take notice. That right there, she admitted it. That's intimidation, I said, and it's a crime. 18 U.S. Code 241. And you had them trespass on my land. That's another stack of charges. Marlene just leans back, smug as ever. Call it what you want. Nobody's siding with you over the board. But I wasn't buying it. I slammed my violation notice on the table. This ends now, or I'm calling the sheriff. Her eyes flickered for a second. But she didn't back down, she doubled down. You want to fight? You'll get one. Just don't cry about the consequences. Yeah, that happened. That afternoon, the bikers were back, only this time. To leave, you're looking at criminal trespass. And if you're here for her, that's conspiracy, state and federal. They laugh, but there's no joy in it. These aren't neighborhood punks. They're mercs. Paid muscle. And it hits me. Marlene didn't just want to scare me. She wanted to fight. And that's when I decided, enough games. I didn't call the sheriff, didn't go to the county. I called my brothers from Delta, the men I'd bled with. 3 black trucks rolled up by noon, my old platoon climbing out, civilian clothes, but same look in their eyes. Marlene's on her porch, sunglasses. Trembling, voice shrill. You can't bring your army here. I just shout back, not an army. It's family. They're here legally, unlike your goons. The bikers rev their engines, flexing. My guys don't even blink. Ramirez, always the joker, leans over. Want us to handle it the usual way. Nope, I say, loud enough for everyone to hear. We do this by the book. But Scarface and his crew, they're not interested in rules. They stepped past the fence, right onto my property. That was it. I moved first, caught Scarface's wrist as he swung, twisted, put him down hard. One of his buddies charges. I knee him in the gut and hip toss him into the dirt. My guys move in, calm and controlled. It's over in 60 seconds, no wasted moves. We didn't have to say a word. When the sheriff finally rolled in, lights flashing, sirens cutting through the dust, he found 6 bikers groaning in cuffs and a bunch of ex-military standing by, hands up. Deputies separated everyone. Started questioning. The bikers caved fast, one admitted. Karen promised we wouldn't get caught. Another cursed her name for dragging them into this. Everything was recorded, airtight. Marlene, yeah. Her real name's Karen. Can you believe it? Was hauled out of the HOA office before sundown. Criminal conspiracy, solicitation of assault, misuse of HOA funds, harassment, the works. The board finally found their spine and voted her out, banned her from ever holding any authority in the community. As for the bikers, felony assault, criminal trespass. Last I heard, they all took plea deals. And you know what? Neighbors who'd never looked me in the eye came by with coffee and thanks, saying they wished they'd spoken up sooner. I didn't rub it in. I just said what needed saying, bullies. Only win when good people stay quiet. That night, As the sun dipped behind the trees, my brothers and I sat on the porch, boots up, finally feeling that peace settle back over the land. Should I have played it safe and called the law sooner? Or was it about time someone stood up for the quiet folks? Drop your thoughts below. Tell me where you stand on community, justice, and fighting back when it matters. Let me back up a sec, because you'd think after all that, things would finally calm down, right? You stand up to a bully, you win, you shake a few hands. You expect life to go back to normal. That's what I told myself as I watched the sun set with my old Delta buddies, thinking the hardest part was over. But I should have known better. In small towns, drama has a way of sticking to you like dust on a truck bumper. The next few weeks, you could feel the shift in the air, neighbors suddenly more friendly, dropping off pies, offering to help mend fences, even the ones who used to peek through their blinds pretending I didn't exist. But there was still this tension, like the ground itself was waiting for the next aftershock. And then, navy pantsuit and mirrored shades, all business. She flashes a badge, introduces herself as Special Agent Carter with the state's Department of Financial Crimes. You got a minute? She asks. In that way that says, this isn't really a question. Turns out, Marlene, or Karen, as the bikers called her, had been dipping into the HOA funds for years, laundering cash through fake maintenance invoices, paying off consultants who never showed up. Carter's flipping through a stack of bank statements, all with Marlene's signature. I just shook my head. Should have known the HOA drama was only the tip of the iceberg. Carter wanted my statement, but more than that, she wanted the security footage I'd mentioned to the deputies. That's when it clicked. Not only had Marlene tried to run me off, others angry, and a few, well, let's just say there were people who had way too much fun being on camera. Meanwhile, Carter's team tore through the HOA office, confiscating files, laptops, even the candy bowl off Marlene's old desk. I started getting calls from lawyers, investigators, even a local politician wanting to hear my side of the story, as if he hadn't ignored my emails for years. But if you want the truth, the real turning point wasn't the news crews, or the handcuffs, or the endless parade of outsiders. It was my neighbors, folks who'd been too scared to stand up, suddenly realized they weren't alone. One by one, they started showing up on my porch, some with stories about Marlene threatening fines if they didn't comply, others confessing how they'd paid for. Got built. That one hit me hard. These weren't just neighbors. They were people whose whole lives got upended by one person's need for control. So, we did something about it. A few of us organized letting fear call the shots. We rewrote the bylaws, voted in a brand new board, and made damn sure every penny was accounted for. No more consultants, no more threats, no more secrets. And you know what? That's when the neighborhood finally felt like home again. Not because it was perfect, far from it, but because people finally realized you can't let one bad apple spoil the whole barrel. My old Delta buddies packed up and headed back to their own families, but every so often I'll find a box of donuts on my porch with a note. For the Colonel, keep him in line. I laugh every time. Sometimes I sit out there at sunset, boots kicked up, thinking about how close we came to losing everything. Land, trust, peace. All because nobody wanted to rock the boat. So here's my advice. If you see something wrong in your neighborhood, don't wait for someone else to fix it. Stand up. Get loud, even if your voice shakes. But hey, maybe you think I made too much noise. Maybe you'd have handled it quieter, or maybe you've seen something like this where you live. Drop your own stories or thoughts below, because I guarantee someone out there needs to hear it. And if you ever find yourself up against a Karen with a clipboard and a grudge, remember, sometimes the best defense is a whole community standing up together. So, what do you think? Are HOAs worth saving, or are they just asking for trouble? Let me know where you stand.